So welcome to another session of the Smith and Swan. We are in our second section, our first time with it. And just to introduce it, there's a crazy story in Kings. I mean, Kings is full of crazy stories. But there's the story where Rehoboam, so Solomon has two rulers coming after him, Jeroboam and Rehoboam. And Rehoboam is now king. And apparently Solomon did some bad stuff. You know, he put on some bad taxes, and Rehoboam wanted to now come in and make some new rules. And he followed some very bad advice from some younger guys, and basically told the people, you know, if you thought my dad was bad, I'm going to show you what's bad.
Proper bad.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to wish that my dad was back because of what I'm going to do to you.
Sure.
And the result of that was the kingdom of Israel split into two nations.
Okay.
There was a civil war, and they split. I mean, and that was just down to someone taking bad advice.
Taking bad advice. Yeah.
And not obeying what God commanded him to do, and that is to honor him with everything.
Yeah.
He took some other whispers.
Yeah.
And it split a nation.
Split a nation. Massive consequences there, right?
Yeah.
And what an introduction to this section, which is the human predicament. And our point at SUC is this. We say instead of trusting and obeying God, we have all rebelled against God's holy will, and in pride have each turned to our own independent ways. And there it is in that story way back when, Harold.
Yeah, all the way back. And we know that the biblical story doesn't just, the bad things don't just start in Kings.
No. So back in Genesis 3, 1 and 2 things are going well, and in 3, Satan is there, and there's this allure, this deception that creeps in.
Yeah, the snake. I mean, you know, there's some questions around that, but the point is, sin came in.
Sin came in.
People, namely Adam and Eve, consciously rebelled against their Creator.
Yeah.
They said, no, we want to be like you.
Yeah.
We don't trust what you've said.
Yeah.
We don't trust that you've given us everything we need.
Yeah.
And we are going to listen to Satan and go against you.
And I think in the society we see this, this sort of real independence. We can do things our own way. We don't need God. We don't need His community. But I think even as believers, you know, from time to time, it's just good to be reminded that dependence on one another, dependence on the Holy Spirit is good. And I just wanted to flip through to the New Testament, and you know, things were going well in the book of Acts. We know how the Holy Spirit's come, the new community's been formed. And then in Acts chapter 5, there's this really abrupt and quite a difficult passage, I think, to grip. But simply says, now a man named Ananias, together with his wife Sapphira, also sold a piece of property with his wife's full knowledge, and he kept back part of the money for himself, but brought the rest and put it at the apostles' feet. And then Peter said, Ananias, how is it that Satan has so filled your heart that you have lied to the Holy Spirit and kept for yourself some of the money you received for the land? And it's tough, you know, there's this lovely sense of community, interdependence, God's bringing people in, and suddenly there's this independence, going their own way, and the consequences were quite big. Yeah,
and independence is not taking ownership of what you're doing, stewardship of God's will. It's going against God's will. It's going your own way. You know, we're all like sheep have gone our own way. We're turning away from God. Yeah. And we're not just turning away from Him, we are actively walking away from Him.
Yeah. I mean, now that you mentioned, I mean, it's a lovely word you've used there, stewardship, because I don't think they saw themselves as stewards as God's money, hey? Yeah. I think they thought, hey, some of this is mine.
Yeah, which is what we think, you know, this is my cash.
Yeah, it's my cash. And I think in our relationships, in life, in the church, we can be selfish. And I think that, you know, our statement of faith is saying we've all rebelled. So we've all got to come back and humble ourselves. Because reconciliation is possible. I think probably people listening have experienced some brokenness. We know what it's like to live in churches. We know what it's like to live in society where there's a sense of brokenness. But this invitation seems to be that if we can come back and humble ourselves, perhaps if Ananias and Sapphira had done that and taken the stewardship approach, there would have been reconciliation.
So what we're saying is, come.
Come.
Seek reconciliation.
Yeah. Let's put our pride aside and